out of 5 dentists, and you would always wonder who the fuck the 5th dentist was. Well, apparently he's now a doctor, and he just says all kinds of idiotic shit. And the other thing that I find particularly interesting is that he says that a woman's body can shut that whole thing down if she's being raped. That is clearly 2 things. One is probably one of the most insensitive things I've ever heard. A responsible male and a leader in of the country, one of the hundreds of congressmen that hundreds of United States congressmen that we have, to say something as asinine as that automatically should disqualify him for elected office, even for a dog catcher. But to say then and further go on and say that the female body can shut down. Well, I guess that may be true if you're talking about a fucking transformer and not a woman. And these are the kinds of things that people like that believe. That, you know, and this is funny because then he came out with a statement that said what he meant to say was forcible rape. When do you need to use forcible with the word rape? I mean, aren't they kind of the same thing? And the fact that he also believes that there are a number of things that I'm in conflict with, but that he also would say, because generally what happens in my experience, generally what happens is the more a man talks, the less likely a woman will fuck him. The more dumb shit he says, the more less likely a woman will fuck him. But I think in Mr. Akin's case, he said so much shit that's incendiary to women. I'm sure that the women of Missouri will fuck him royally on election day. And just look at this dude. When we get finished, you get finished looking at this episode. I encourage you to look at his comb over. I haven't seen a comb over like that since Dick Van Patten on 8 is Enough. Either they go to the same stylist or they were twins separated at birth. This is the kind of rhetoric that these people who want to run this country, and it's the kind of thing I refer to in my book. I want you to shut the fuck up. How the audacity of dopes is ruining America. This is one of the very ones I'm talking about. His idea of women, his idea of rape, his idea of what's acceptable, legitimacy, all these kinds of things that you know that he talks about, that he has conversations with, and that he has people. I think that it is asinine for him to actually apologize because I think he believes this. And I think he's indicative of that mindset of the Tea Party. I think the Tea Party, whenever they like somebody, and I want to point out that Claire McCaskill, his senatorial opponent, the Democratic senator, current senator who he's running against, paid money to run an ad that would help him get the nomination. Because she knew that this guy was a fucking idiot and that she would have a better chance running against a guy who would run off at the mouth and thereby cost herself the election. It's so bad that Republicans are running away from him. Romney and Ryan came out and talked in the strongest terms I've ever heard somebody condemn, particularly from the Republican side, condemn anybody. And I think he's in a bit of trouble. And she probably knew, and rightfully so, that this guy would put his foot in his mouth, and he has. But really, it's more a question on what kind of nation we are. Do we want the best and the brightest, or just the people who oppose a viewpoint that who espouse a viewpoint that we like and oppose one that we just are in direct opposition with? So I think that this is an interesting election because I think that you will find a lot of candidates, you know, from Alan West saying that he knows that there are members of the Democratic Party who are communists, to Bachmann saying that a doctor told her that the shot that you take to deal with HPV, that she got it from a doctor, that it can make you retarded. That was a dumb thing. So these doctors apparently are the same doctors who are telling that Obama's healthcare plan is bad for America. So maybe it's the same doctor running around spreading information. But a lot of people on the right, when they get caught, point to somebody on the left. Of course, Joe Biden, about a week ago, talked about they want to put you back in chains. He was talking about the Republican Party. But the Republican Party, in the last, takes money from large conservative corporate donors who want to roll back. They don't want minimum wage. They don't want to give a fair wage. They don't want to pay benefits. They don't want people to have unions. They don't want to be able to negotiate with anybody. They don't want women to make, the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which let women and men equal pay. They don't want that. So, minus the boat ride and the jewelry that slaves got, the chains that slaves got, it's pretty much just slavery. They would like to roll back things so that they're in control. As a matter of fact, these corporations who can't do what they want to here go to other countries where they deal with people, business leaders and political leaders who will let them exploit their people. That's what they want. They want to have a labor force that they can readily exploit with no condemnation and no one to stand in their way. If that isn't the definition of putting people in chains, I don't know what is. So the two don't even parallel to me. What Joe Biden said is nothing like what Akin said. One is a metaphor for what he sees, and I think it's a legitimate argument for what he sees the role in what a lot of people who represent the conservative viewpoint have in mind for what they think is proper, and the other one is an ignorant, unfactual diatribe from a man who's clearly out of touch with not only human beings, but even his family. I mean, he has 2 daughters, and so to me, this is an idea. This is a kind of fork in the road to see literally what kind of country we'll become. So I am excited to keep doing this, and every time I see something like that, it really makes it fun to do this show. I hope you keep watching the show. Notes from the G.E.D. section. I hope you go out and get my book. I want you to shut the fuck up. The Audacity of Hopes, how the audacity of dopes is ruining America. And on this Friday, I'll be on Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher, talking about some of these various